Good morning. Today I'm sitting down on my computer, a little bit too close, let's go back. And I'm editing some of the videos that I shot last year. And I was thinking, you know what, it'd be nice to show you guys how easy it is, or the process I've created to make my video color grading super easy. So if you're shooting on a Lumix camera and you're shooting in V-Log, this may be the easiest way of editing your images possible. So sit down, relax, and enjoy my process of editing V-Log footage. All right, so I've gone ahead and I threw some footages into the color space within DaVinci Resolve. Now all of this is V-Log footage. There's nothing special here. Some of the shots were within the same kind of day or the same hour, so they should be quite coherent. Everything else is shot throughout the year at random points or random times with different ND filters. And different white balances. So obviously that's going to look a little bit different. There's going to be some exposure differences, and there's going to be some whites that are going to be tinted either way or whatever, depending on the scene. So I'm going to show you kind of how I go about it. It's really, really simple as long as you're using the CPL LUT pack kind of thing. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go straight to that. So on my left side here, I've got all the LUTs that I work with. I've got my just ordinary Charlie LUT pack here, which is the CPL LUT Lumix updated. If you download the pack from my website, that will be inside there as well. So you'll see this in there. So what I do first is, before I start with anything, I'll go to the start here, and then I'll just create a new node. So if you guys see here, I'll add new node, add a serial node. So effectively everything on this first node, if I go into label, everything on here is just my V-Log, right? And then over here is going to be my label for that one is my Rec 709. I'm going to have Rec 709 there, sorry, and I'm just going to actually do one more while we're here. I'm going to go over add serial, and I'm going to label this one 709 CPL. There's a reason for that. I'm going to show you something right now. First of all, before we dive into my process, what I do, I just want to show you the difference between the LUTs I use and the Lumix ones, if you're wondering what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Conversion Pro LUT, or the CPL. When I keep saying that, you might be wondering. So normally you'd have footage like this, right? You'll have your V-Log, and then you'll come over to, say, another LUT, another node, sorry, and then you'll add the Panasonic LUT. So if you go to the Panasonic one here, this is the one that DaVinci Resolve gives you straight away. So some people will grab that, they'll drop it on there, and then cool, the image looks great so far. So you'll scrub through, and eventually I think you might see my face. I think my face pops into it at some point. There we are. So there's my face there. Right, so you put that on and you think, okay, this is a cool place to start with. It looks all right. It obviously needs a bit more contrast. It needs a bit more saturation to it. Now, if I was to switch that one back off, so we go back to how it looks through V-Log, and then instead now I grab my my LUT here. So I go to just Charlie, sorry, the update, and let's say I grab the master. This might be too strong right now, but we'll pop it on there. Either way, okay. Straight away, there's a lot more punch going on if I switch between that one and the one that Lumix gives us. You see my skin still looks really gray. There's no pigment there, and everything else looks a bit too, I don't know, washed out. Of course, you might be thinking, yes, because you got to do some work to make it look better, right? So what you got to do here is you might come over to this section. You might start adding some more contrast. A little bit there. You might bring the pivot down just a little bit so you can see more into the shadows. So now you've got a little bit more contrast. Let's toggle that on and off. Sorry, does it work that way? Oh, it doesn't show what I've just done previously. It doesn't matter anyway. Then we'll start to pump up some saturation. What I like to do is go really extreme and then bring it back. So it looks like around there. Makes a lot of sense. Now, if you look closely at this, if I was to zoom in, let's hope that it does it the way I want it to do. If we zoom in here, you'll notice around my ears, they're very, very red. My ears are quite red, but they ain't that red. Unless someone's, you know when someone's talking about you and your ears go red. But yeah, the colors there, for me, they're a little bit off. I feel like it adds a bit of a magenta tone. If I was to switch this one back off now and we go over to the CPL, we'll notice it's less red. In terms of the lighting though, we've dropped down a little bit, and that's an intentional thing. The LUTs that I make here, especially the master LUT, it's kind of, Have you ever heard of ETTR? It's exposed to the right, if that makes sense. So it's kind of bringing the highlights down just a little bit, or it's shooting into the highlights, sorry, so that you can work with your shadows afterwards. So when you put the LUT on there, it might come across as dark if you set your exposure to the perfect 0 on the Lumix cameras, but sometimes I shoot +1, +1.5. If you're shooting around that area, where you can get cleaner shadows, when you put the LUT on, it'll just go to a normal value. It'll look correct. But if it doesn't and it looks dark like this, you need to go back to the V-Log section over here on the first node and then just bring some of the exposure up. I like to do it in the gamma section here and nowhere else really. And I'll just lift a little bit of the gamma, and that kind of gets me within the ballpark of where I want to be, right? So just a little bit more exposure. If you're a bit better at color grading and stuff, you'll know exactly what you need to do. But if it's just, you know, to get things leveled and looking okay, that's normally what I do to lift it. So if we go back to the Rec 709 from DaVinci and my one, so we'll switch off the CPL now. Take a look at the skin before I do so. You can see there's a little bit of tone in the skin there, a little bit of tan, a little bit of pinking in the ears, but not aggressively. Switch that off, switch over to the 709 there, and you'll see it just looks lifeless. It doesn't look like the colors are dense at all. I'll toggle back through those again for you. You see there's a whole difference in look there altogether. Without kind of just bragging about how good it is, but it's took a long time to get it to look that good. So this is how I work with my files, how quick and easy it is if you're using this CPL pack. It's so easy. So say you look at a scene like this, for instance, where I'm here at a car wash. So go through, it's varying different light situations going on right now. I will just grab this straight away. I'll grab the top one and let's grab another node. Sorry, let's do that again. Add another node. On the second node in, I will throw on this. So I'll right click, apply to current node, and then we've got this color here. You'll notice here, I feel like these colors definitely leaning towards where the Arri Alexa goes, like the blue tones here. It's very Arri Alexa toned in terms of its color science. I know the version 2, so that's version 1. The version 2 that I use is leaning towards reds color science. So let's find the version 2, which is that one there, and let's apply that one instead. You'll see those tones slightly change a little bit. Let's go back again. Oops. We'll see that. Look at the blues and how rich they become, and the skin tones, how they change. There you go. I think for that one, the reds, especially in the Volvo's tail lights there, just looks a little bit more accurate. And the neon lights that's up on the left there look a little bit nicer in the version 2. Version 3 is a blend between those color sciences, and it's a push on the Panasonic's color science. So let's see what version 3 looks like. It's gonna be this one here. Oh no, that one at the bottom, sorry. We'll apply that one there, and we'll see it's got even more rich now. So those headlights, I mean, those tail lights are really popping compared to version 2. As you can see, the reds like I've deleted out a little bit there actually. And then when you go into the first one, they've got like a better tone to them, I guess, but the overall tone is a little bit more cyan kind of thing. And we'll go for version 3, which is now a deep, rich version of that. So as we go through this video, you'll see how vivid it looks, right? If I was to switch this one off and then just on the first node, instead what we'll do is we'll drop the Panasonic LUT on there and we'll pop that on the first node. This is where that's going, which looks pretty nice. But the problem is, if you look at everything else other than red, it feels black and white, right? Like it's got no color there. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm just gonna have to bump up the saturation to make this thing look a bit nicer, which is what you're doing here. Now the red looks a lot, but not that bad actually. It looks pretty decent, but I'm going all the way up to 90. I wouldn't normally go up to there. 70 mark is where you kind of want to be. Between these two, that actually looks pretty decent. But I just feel like there's something about my LUT where you're getting a better dynamic range out of the image. You're seeing more of outside, what's going on outside. If you look at the windows, you're also getting some color tones out there, which you're just not getting with the other one. Yeah. So this is what I do first of all, right? So I go through all of my footages and I just will drag on a LUT that will suit it. I try to keep to the same one if I'm in the same environment, but sometimes obviously skin tones, they make things change around a lot. So what I'll first do is I'll start with the primary Conversion Pro LUT, and straight away that looks great out the box. If I was to change that out for the Panasonic one again, I know I keep doing this, but one more time, just so you can see there is a difference here. We'll switch out theirs, apply that one. It still looks great, but it just doesn't have the pop that my one has. So I prefer to use that one. And that's my base standard one. This is the flat one, you know what I mean? There, you just see there's so much more going on in the windows, the tints and everything there. And then we can try version 2, apply that one, which has even more depth. It's a whole different color science. And then we've got version 3 down here, which then switches it to a middle ground. But I think in this situation, version 2 looks really more accurate to what the red of this BMW actually looks like. So I know when I go to this one, if I pop on version 2, it's gonna look absolutely banging. And then at this point, you see in this situation here, I feel like the tires aren't dark enough. So now this is where I'll probably bring down some of the gamma and just get my lighting situation correct. Likewise, we'll move on to this one. We'll go straight to version 2, see how that looks. Looks all right. Version 3, slight bit of change in the tones. Version 1 is gonna just like flatten this out altogether. And then we've got many of the others. If I wanted to just try the master LUT, I can do that one. And you'll see it drops the tones down into kind of place. Let's just try version 2, lifts it up a little bit. So sometimes you can just literally use the master, for instance. And now once again, we can see that I need to bring some of these highlights down, and then we can hit play. And then straight out the box, it looks pretty decent. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That is my friend Nick walking barefoot. We'll do the same with a lot of these others. I'm just going to grab the master and throw it on a lot of these. Actually, lighting wise, I think version 2 looks good there. And if we go through, we can see how nice and warm that looks as we're driving. If I was to do the master one, it looks a bit dull. But we got slight variations in tones here that we can use. But I really like, I think version 2, it looked pretty decent on this one. This particular video here is quite nice. And then we can just do the same here. Let's try for the master. Looks okay. The version 2 just has a little bit of a nicer tone to it. I do like that. And this is what I'll do. I'll just go through and I'll add these, and then I'll do a slight adjustment in the gamma to bring that down, and I'm near enough done. I should have cleaned my sensor in these particular shots here. Go to the master again. Bring the gamma down. Pretty much ready to go. And this is how easy it is once you have a LUT that works really well with your whole setup here. One thing I'd like to show you, which another reason why I had to make my own conversion LUT, I was just not happy with skin tones. They are not terrible with the Lumix conversion LUT, but it's just, I don't know, something about the lips and the conversion. I've spoken about this before and I will speak about it 100 times again. But if we go through, I think I might show up in this shot. That's why I'm just cleaning up the room a little bit. Do I sit down? I'm not sure if I do. No, I don't. Do I sit down in this one? Let's scroll through. Okay, for instance, right? Okay, let's just take a look at the back of my head here. Yeah, it's a thick neck, isn't it? Forget that. My neck, my ears, my face, everything looks in the right tonal space there, right? So I'm just gonna add another node. I'm gonna do that right now, and another one again. I'm gonna delete this first node over here. I'm gonna reset that, so it's going back to V-Log. This one here, I'm gonna label this one as Lumix. I'm gonna label the next one as CPL. I know, I get it. You know what I'm doing here, right? You're just gonna keep seeing this theme, but without seeing it happen directly and what exactly it's changing, you won't understand what's the point in going for it in the first place, right? So Lumix, let's throw on the second one, on the CPL, let's just throw the version 2 onto that one. As you can see, I dropped that one there. It's the same one we had a minute ago. I'll switch that back off. And on the Lumix one, we'll go to Panasonic, where are we? And we'll grab the 709, which is a DaVinci one, which most people probably use. We'll drop that on there. As you can see, it looks pretty pale, right? So we're gonna increase the saturation as we do. Let's try and make this look as good as possible without adjusting the tones or the colors, right? So I'm gonna turn up my saturation there. I might just drop a little bit of that contrast down a little bit and bring the pivot down. Let's add some more, sorry. And then we can pivot it down a little bit or up. I think just about there. And then let's just bring the shot just down a little bit. Okay, so that's the Lumix one. This is my one. And now the Lumix one looks like it's got a lot more saturation to it, right? It's popping a lot more. But the problem with that is One, the pillows don't look like that in real life. They do not look this weird kind of browny orange tone that's going on. And my skin tones, there's a lot of variations which aren't really that true. As you can see probably in this footage, my ears don't have that much difference to my face here, but on this one, it's really showing the sections that have blood. I feel like it does it around the nose, around the ears, and around your lips. So sometimes, depending on the type of person that you've got in the footage, and for my wife, for instance, being a Latin lady, she's got a tan to her skin, and then as soon as a little bit of this kind of Lumix look goes on there and you start to increase the saturation, it really brings out any area that's full of like blood, like in the skin, which isn't that great. If I was to kind of increase the saturation on the CPL, for instance, we start pushing that one to its limit, you see now there is a slight increase of it, but it's not red raw, if that makes sense. We'll switch it on with that one. We'll see that even though, sorry, I shouldn't be flicking them around like that, but you see, look at the pillows there. The pillows have a nice tone to them. I'll switch that back off. I'll put the pillows on here and they're just burning out too much. It's weird. Like, I don't know, I can't explain it properly, but this is basically what I do. I will go through, I will put my LUT on because it is simply that good to just start with, to just go with straight out the box. It looks great. And then if I want to get more of a filmic look, what I can then do is start to add some effects that's inside DaVinci itself. So I'll open up another node here, and then I can go up here, I can type in film, for instance, and then we can go over here where we can add film grain to the footage. And straight away, you probably can't see this on YouTube, but straight away that already looks more film-like. Do you know what I mean? I can change that to an 8mm film. I might show it for you guys a little bit easier. Put the opacity all the way up, where you can see how bad that looks now. Let's bring that down to a 16mm. You can show grain only is kind of how it looks. So I probably want to go a little bit more for this one. So I normally just grab a little bit of grain, put that on there. And then that adds a little bit more texture. I feel like the tones that I already choose from the LUT look pretty great. And then from here, this is the point where you can kind of add your third-party plugins and things, you know, some of those film converts or stuff like that, or dehancers that make it look that step further in the kind of process. But as far as I go, if it's just quick, easy, I need to get my videos out, I will simply take my log format videos, just like this one. I'll reset that, sorry. I'll take my video just like this on V-Log. I will go to my LUT pack. So where are we? There. I will just probably grab the master and I'll throw that on. And if the tones don't look right, like they don't in this scene right now, I'll see which other versions look great. And version 2 seems to look great with this particular red. And I'm ready to go. I hit play. It goes through smooth. And I'm ready to just move on to the next. I don't like to waste a lot of time. I'll prefer to just adjust and sit here and try and do a lot of things. So I'm hoping that kind of helped clear up that it's not that complex to be able to make videos look that great. I think a lot of people try to trick you into thinking you need to spend hours and hours and hours on color grading. But if you have the correct or a great conversion LUT, taking your log format to a 709, then after that, it's just creativity. Like, the image will look great. All you need to do after that is either print it, export it, and you're happy, or go a bit further by adding some grain, adding some like lens flares, or adding a whole kind of different filmic look to it by adding another LUT on top. And then they've got like a bit more of a film look going on compared to the original. But it's all down to taste, and I'm not trying to sit at my computer for hours and hours and hours. I want to make my footage. I want to put it on the computer, grab my LUT, the same LUT I'm using inside the camera, so that it just looks great as soon as I get going on the computer. If you do want to check out my Conversion Pro LUT pack, there's more than just Lumix stuff in there. There's stuff for Samsung phones, for iPhones, for Sonys, for Blackmagic cameras, but I mostly use Samsung, DJI, and I use Lumix cameras. So the conversion LUTs will be updated regularly for those 3 camera systems. If you're interested in that and you want to support the channel, then go ahead and make a purchase. I will be eternally grateful, as they say in Toy Story. All right, I feel like this video has already gone too long for something super, super simple, and I apologize if you feel that way too. I'll catch you in the next one, where hopefully the weather's changed, so we can actually get outside and start making some nice vlogs, which I really want to dive into this year. All right, peace and love. Catch you in the next one.